What's up, good people? This is Isaiah. And as we look at the tape, we have Alma here, another style, right? It should be stated that this isn't really a review on Alma, another style. Really just showcasing a few things. Mainly that I did in fact get her, and for anybody else that got her, right, if you have it on video, right, go back and watch your video. If you did a pull for her, I should say, listen to the sound that happens when the door opens. It sounds completely different than every other door, you know what I mean? At least for me, I'm like, ooh, that was different. That was different. You may find some videos about it floating around, people who did pulls and managed to get her, right? Just listen to the sound of the door opening, you know what I mean? Like when the door finally opens, it sounds completely different than everything else. So I just thought I'd bring that up because I found the sound interesting. Definitely found the sound interesting. Anyway, so we got her level 80. I literally just ran the XP dungeon here. So there was that. One thing worth mentioning was the jump from one version of the game to another, right? So this here says 3.5.10, but if we look at, say, oh boy, the previous notice, let's say this one here, actually no, that's just the development letter. It's a terrible example. Right, so with wenefica, we go from 3.3.110 to 3.5.10. So that's one hell of a jump. You know what I mean? It was the very first thing I noticed. I'm like, wow, okay. So we just skipped 3.4. All right, cool. You know what I mean? So there's that. I haven't used her in actual fights yet or anything like that. But I did, in fact, get her. There's also a handful of things I still haven't done yet. Like, I still haven't done Izusuki's True Manifest just yet, so I still need to do that. But I do like the fact that I can now go back and replay any of these quests here, which is pretty cool. The Cat Express tickets, these are pretty interesting, right? So I looked to see what was currently available here, and primarily what I would actually use them on are actually the Garrelia dungeons where they use green keys. You know what I mean? So if I had enough of those tickets, run it 6 times, and then actually run TTW if I'm grinding for light or shadow for any free character, right? So for example, let's see here. Present, I have all of them maxed out. So this Altina, we'll do that. And yes, by the way, we did get our boy Oboro here to level 100. Okay, so that's done, but let's go ahead and switch to she's a bow, shadow, female, and there's Altina here, because I don't know if actually running the skip would actually give me shadow for her, and I don't mind running the skip. Okay, I typically run Arc of Underworld here. So I just ran the skip here, in case anybody's wondering what this is like. All right, so I got a codex, I got a treatise here, some supports, which is fine. And I guess that answers that question. You can, in fact, get light or shadow when running a skip. Okay, so for anybody wondering, I was incredibly lucky. Incredibly lucky. So if anybody wondering, it does in fact work. Got 79 frag of attacks, some siege refs here. I can continue hitting skip, but I'm not. I'm just hit end here. So that's currently how that works. Other than that, we have Alma here. What was interesting is when I was running the XP dungeon, I'm like, I wonder how she would actually do. So I had everybody leave just to see what would happen, right? So I don't. Let's see, do we have, okay, Suzette it is.
Summon forth the darkness.
Yeah, exactly. Summon forth the darkness. We're all in agreement with Suzette here. When she says to do something, We must do it. Okay. Anyway, so I was wanting to test Alma here. Now, mind you, she only has XP equipment on, and of course she has the important skills here. I don't know which skill it was that David over at Another Eden Adventures was talking about, because like I said, I mean, I unlocked the board and just unlocked the board and just I haven't changed anything. You know what I mean? So there's that. In fact, I did the Stellar Awakening and then I finished up the ability board. You know what I mean? So I don't know which skill it is, and I'm willing to test and die in battle in order to test different things out. A lot of these skills are really good ones, like for example, Brain Record, for example, pretty good for what it does. There's a lot of skills. It feels like she needs additional skills, if I'm being honest. But I guess it really does depend on what it is you're trying to do. One thing I'm definitely curious about is this Kaleidoscope skill. Right, because this says grant link to single party member 5 turns and barrier pierce 3 moves. So is this barrier pierce given to that party member or what exactly? You know what I mean? So again, as you can tell, I've done 0 testing on Alma here. You know, I do have an ideal team comp in mind because of the Crystal Zone. I do have an ideal team comp in mind for that. But we'll get to that in a bit. So we're going to go ahead and just experiment by running this XP dungeon, right? And we're going to run with this team. I don't necessarily need to have Felmina in the party, but I'm pretty sure David mentioned it before, how power creep kicks in, where a lot of things that were pretty hard in the beginning are now pretty simple. I don't know which skill it was. I'm gonna just have them all leave. Okay, terrible example. We have to be against the horror here, and the only reason why I came here is to gain levels. You know what I mean? As you can see, she's not doing a lot of damage. For it, she has no Grasta. There's no Pain Grasta on her or anything like that. It's literally just the Daybreak equipment. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here.
Get back home.
And then I know we have the new she doesn't have a resistance to that, so if she gets confused, that may actually prevent the counterattack from working. You know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta understand, like, I haven't used her at all, so we'll try this again and see what happens. Okay, this is no good. We'll try. Ooh. That's interesting. So this Kaleidoscope I can give to a character not even in the actual front line. Interesting. And then when they VC in, they will still have that ability. You're learning something new every day. There's that counterattack there. Working just fine. What does this do? Mind you, I just dropped the skills. You know what I mean? I didn't plan anything or anything like that at all. Alright, so there's that. Pretty interesting stuff. I was asked about my favorite character from the Octopath collab, and I would have to say my favorite character would have to be Cyrus here, or at least the one with the most utility, because of all that he can actually do. Being able to set 3 zones based on his skills, even though they're small attack skills, that's kind of bothersome. I was kind of hoping they'd be like extra large, or at least large, you know. Pretty interesting stuff. I did finish out I was gonna say Link's jeez, I'm playing Chrono Cross, Wenefica's quest line, which was pretty interesting. I definitely did enjoy that. I was kind of hoping for some kind of crossover between Wenefica and Tuva, because based on the story itself, it's like, okay, Venefica's memories. For those that haven't played it, not really spoiling anything, at least I hope not. So if you don't have Venefica and you haven't done a character quest, or if you haven't watched Will Max's video on Venefica, then, you know, I was kind of hoping for some kind of crossover between Tuva and Venefica, and the reason being is because the memories are passed down from generation to generation. So I would think at some point one of these Veneficas had to have run into Tuva, because Tuva's immortal. You know what I mean? So, which is something I was thinking about. I'm like, oh man, it'd have been nice to see. Like, oh, Venefica, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? So something like that, right?
It's your fault you're dead, you know.
Should also be stated, I haven't really experimented with Venefica either, as far as skills go. Meaning I haven't developed any kind of team comp that uses her abilities at all. There's been far too many characters has been released rather recently that make it pretty challenging to test some of these individuals the way I would want to. So both inside of an AF and then of course outside of an AF as well. And it doesn't help that the Stellar Awakening is now a thing. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, well, building a team comp with the Stellar Awakening in mind. Okay. Never used that skill before. But building a team comp that utilizes all of their potential abilities. You know what I mean?
Wide open. How?
Yeah, so that was... I forgot about that. Yeah, so if anything, having something to resist that confusion or stun there, I believe I was stun, not confusion. That stun would actually help. Okay, so in case anybody were to get her, right? She's not a. I'm curious to see if that same skill would actually impact people in radius, for example. Just curious. So. Anyway, did I get everything? Yes, I did. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot to be done here in regards to testing these characters, right? A lot to be done, and then of course finding the correct enemy to test them on. You know what I mean? But the problem with that is finding the right enemy is like it makes the characters only enemy specific. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, odds are these characters that got released can be used across different bosses and things of that nature, different pieces of content and whatnot. Just coming up with ideas too. Okay, if say this counter, for example, that Alma Another Style now has, where could this best be used? You know, the first one that came to mind as soon as I watched David's video was I was thinking Murphy for some reason. You know, EPS Murphy to get Curio's weapon, right? He's the first boss to get that weapon. I think he's the first boss to get that weapon. It may have been the second. I don't really remember. But it's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, okay. I feel like I would want to use that against Murphy for some odd reason. I don't know why I thought this, but that's what I was thinking about. So, there's that there. That description has gotten much longer too. Okay. But yeah, so a lot of that has been going on, and then of course we have all these new 100 level 100 characters that again require further testing. I've already tested Sirius, courtesy of again a video that David over at Another Eden Adventures did, where I was testing the damage potential of him, and I was trying to break a few billion without using an AF. That proved to be has proven to be a lot harder than I actually thought it was. But the damage potential is pretty sky high for Sirius here. When set up correctly, you can do it by like turn 2, turn 3. All right. Already experimented with Aldo, so nothing really to add there. But yeah, a lot of it is really just coming down to testing out different things. Like I had a question about getting Felmina to use her special move, for example. And the trick with that is you want to do enough damage to build up that AF bar, right? I preferably have that bar full. So of course the challenge here is finding an enemy where that can actually be done. So against the bags, it's hard for me to do, right? Because the bags will be obliterated before I even get to a full AF bar. So things like that. And then also, of course, the other thing is asking yourself is, well, who do you want to have in the party? Like, what do you want to utilize? So, for example, this team here won't work for getting to see Felmina's special move. The reason why is because we activate a water zone, all right? And their skill set doesn't nearly allow me to do nearly enough damage to build up that bar. I can get it pretty close, but it's not enough. Which, by the way, to further increase your ability to do that, you need to increase your character's speed, right? So this here's a focus on power, focus on speed instead, because obviously the faster the character is, the faster they'll be able to utilize skills inside of another force, all right? So just something for the one that was pretty much asking about how to go about doing that. I also have to experiment with that. Like I said, with this particular team comp, I got pretty close to getting there, but like I said, I killed the bags before it was all said and done. I'm like, wow, it was so close, you know. So it's going to require more testing in order to do that, but it definitely is possible. You probably would have to swap out a few other characters for someone else instead, really. Okay, so I guess, sure, why not? I should have checked. Did the actual skip use the key? Let's see here. I don't know. I don't know, because that says 11 here. Oh, yeah, okay. So I did use the 2 keys. All right, cool. How else can we get these? Because that will come in handy for farming. So these quality of life improvements definitely help. Let's pop on over here. See what you got. Okay, I can get more of those later. Let's see, what do you have? Some star charts here. Codex. And it doesn't look like you can get them any other way here. So they really are part of the subscription. Okay, cool. No big deal. But yeah, in regards to what I've been up to, nothing much, man. It's a new year, new content. We're catching up to Japan incredibly quickly based on what I've been seeing so far. There's a lot of side content that I have to do still. Like, you see that area back there? Back over there? Yeah. Still gotta work on that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, a lot of this requires testing, really. And I do know, like I said, we have the new tomes out for the mythos here. I have to go do some grinding for this. Mainly just on getting these conditions squared away. I don't typically film like doing super bosses and things like that, especially if I've already killed the super boss. But if I have to, I will. It'd be no big deal. The beauty is you can always refight. What I like about the tomes is that you can actually refight them. You know what I mean? So for example, I was going back to allies here, and this is Aldo. I can just change the difficulty and then find him again with a completely different party. You know what I mean? So things like that. So, but there's a lot. I haven't finished this yet either. Repair level 18. There's probably people out there who've managed to complete everything here. You know what I mean? Up to 35. Up to 35. You know, I'm not that guy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, though. Like I said, we do have Alma, another style. I'll have to do this quest. I'm definitely curious because that's just tempering with time. I have other quests I have to finish as well, like Claudius. I haven't done his quest yet. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to do that. And then who's next? And who is this? Like, I don't know who that is. Or at least I don't remember who that is. Because I don't think they're there in this one. Oh, wait, yes, they are. Never mind. Spoke too soon. So, anyway, as far as which version of Alma is better, I can't really tell. I would have to literally put her through the paces, right? Basically taking her in fights where, say, Alma exceeded expectations, typically during like manifest fights or whatever, and just seeing if she can actually keep up with her normal style version and things like that. So other than that, that's pretty much it for this one. Right, we have a 255 Alma AS, and yeah, I got work to do apparently with keeping everything up to date here. All right, so I'm gonna get out of here, and if you got questions for me, things you would like to see, feel free to let me know. I'm not gonna ask you to like, comment, subscribe. I don't do that. But yeah, if you got questions on, say, some of these characters, or how, say, to grind for light, shadow, and things like that now with all these new changes that have been made, I don't mind making a video about those. All right. Or if you want me to explain some of the characteristics of certain characters, I mean, I have them all. So if you want me to explain something about a certain character, feel free to let me know. And I'll get out of here and talk to you all later.